Hello, 75B, and welcome back. I'm here to give you a quick overview on week 7. Now, if you take a quick look at it, you will notice that it looks pretty long. Well, we're starting a new important segment of the class, which is the 20th century, more or less, or the first half or third of it. I've already talked about how the anthologies break up by war. And I think you could write a whole paper on that. Why does that constitute large changes in literature and culture? Is it a little simplistic? Yes and no. But what I do want you to keep in mind is that we do have some good stuff going on this week. And even though it looks like a lot, it's going to be very, very doable. So we'll be looking at the effects of World War I on American culture and literature, hence the videos. We're going to be talking about Robert Frost, and we'll be starting our peer review process on the literary analysis essay. Now, coming up on Wednesday, notice it says read American literature. In other words, these are the introductory pages to this particular era. And it's going to include modernism, which is a very specific term and will be helpful for you to know. You're also going to read about World War I and its aftermath. That's another 17 or so pages. And with such large cultural and social and technological and economic shifts, a lot's changing in the culture and for artists and writers. If you're looking towards Saturday, you'll notice you've got a handful of poems by Robert Frost. There's clearly a lot more, but these ones have a really good overview of what we'll be looking at and talking about. And that includes the pasture, mowing, mending wall, death of the hired man, after apple picking, fire and ice, nothing gold can stay. So, the actual literary reading, not that huge. But again, poetry is going to take you more than once to really get a good handle on. And don't forget to use that SIFT method that we talked about. Um, the other thing that I think is going to be really important is to think about the role of nature and the pastoral poem in Robert Frost. And you're going to see some of that in the videos. I noticed that I did not put view video on here, but of course, please view all the videos. I'll talk about those in a second. Coming up Sunday on the 26th, I want you to submit your rough draft. Complete rough draft, typed, MLA format. If it's rough structurally, you don't like the transitions, things like that, you're not sure about the argument, that's fine. Remember, the intro and the conclusion are the last two paragraphs you should write. You're not going to win or lose the game there. If you got the body paragraphs, that's where the fight really is. The intro and the conclusion are just, they're pieces of bread on the sandwich. I don't want people to get too stressed about that. Trying to come up with the perfect introduction is a brilliant way to procrastinate. It's done by millions of students all over the world. Save it to the last. You need to have a thesis, but after that, get right into your argument and your analysis. Anyway, this submission is going to be our precursor to a peer review. I've come to the conclusion that peer reviewing in literature classes is really important because it's a very specialized kind of essay that people sometimes need some touch up on or just to become familiar with. So getting another set of eyes and getting comfortable discussing what we're doing in that paper is really, really crucial. Without further ado, I'll take a look back here. Notice here, we've got some introductory video lectures, part 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. I know it's a bit, take some notes on it, but again, we're moving hard and fast into the 20th century, and there are drastic shifts going on, like I said. Now, I've also got a video lecture here on Robert Frost. A lot of you know him from very early on in your reading careers. He gets anthologized a lot, especially some of his kinder, more benevolent poems about nature. You will also notice that I have links here to triac paragraph structure. Now, this is a great way for you to organize your body paragraphs to make sure that you're getting what you need into them. And that includes a quotation, an analysis of the quotation, and a topic sentence. Sometimes people just want to sprinkle quotes everywhere in their papers like fairy dust. Triac or TIA, if you go with the abbreviated form, is one way to make sure that you are in control of your paper and you're not just linking together big fat quotes to burn through space. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If people want to have me look at their rough drafts, all you got to do is let me know. We can set up an appointment and we can talk about it. Anyway, these are good to look at as you're starting to work on your rough draft. I've also given an example essay here, Ichabod Crane, The Twisted Knight. It's from a 75A class, and it's about how Ichabod Crane from Legend of Sleepy Hollow is a parody of knightly values and norms. You know, it's a funny little stab at chivalry through this ridiculous character of Ichabod. So, looking back at our module, you'll notice there are essay number 1, peer review instructions. And there are a couple steps for you. First of all, you're going to list 3 specific concerns you have about your essay. You're going to put them in a Canvas inbox email to me. If you're not sure, look at the tasks below and pick from them. In other words, look at what your peer reviewer is going to look at. You know, and if it's grammar, be specific. Grammar's a lot of different rules. Then you're going to send that to me and attach a copy of your rough draft. And if you've got a preference for peers, let me know. Somebody you've worked with before, somebody you hang out with, a Pinkberry, that's cool. Just let me know and I'll set you up. Otherwise, as they come in, I will pair people off. Finally, you're also going to submit that rough draft in the week 7 rough draft submission page. And remember, that's due as an attachment this coming up Sunday. All right. So coming up after that, you as a reviewer, you're going to read the paper beginning to end and then complete tasks 1 through 5. You're going to send them through Canvas inbox to me and to your peer. But you're not going to do punctuation yet. Sometimes we get so hung up on sentence level stuff that we're not looking at the big picture. It's really easy to go into grammar mode. But grammar, punctuation, that's the paint job. You got to make sure that you're already looking at a car that basically runs. If you want to use the car as, you know, an extended example. In other words, does it have an engine in there? Does it move forward? Is it going in the right direction? Are all the pieces in place? And that's what all of these structural questions are about. And they're fairly self-evident, I think. Then when you read the paper a second time, you can then correct it for that little paint jobby stuff, the grammar, the punctuation, the word choice. And you can do that by using the review function on Microsoft Word. And if you're not sure about that, let me know and I can send you a link. I should probably post that as well. Then finally at the end, once you get everything back from your peer, the peer edited rough draft, the answers to these questions, you're going to close the feedback loop. You're going to basically answer this question. What feedback in this review was most helpful to you? And then you're going to write at least 3 sentences that are going to explain what you plan to consider, do, or change in your paper. And they don't have to be huge, big, long sentences, but it means that you've thought about the critique. You've critiqued the critique in another way. Because if you don't do that, then this is kind of an empty exercise. And I don't want it to be that for you. And I know you probably aren't a big fan of busy work. So if we just get back peer review information and say, thanks, bro, shove it into our backpack, or, go past the email, don't think about it anymore, we aren't going to be getting what we need out of it. Um, and I definitely want everybody to improve and get better and better the whole way along. Um, just because I want you to write the best possible papers and get the most that you can out of this class. So again, if there are any questions on that, please, please, please let me know. And coming back up, you will notice, oh, I'm out of student view. I had to go ahead and change something real fast. If you notice on week 7 discussion, there is no discussion because I know you've got a bit of work cranking out that rough draft. I do give partial credit. You know, if you submit half of the rough draft, I'm going to give you half of the 35 points for it. That ends up being about 3.5% in the class. But having a complete rough draft is the first crucial step to getting to a good final draft. So even if you hate it, and if you want to put a little preamble at the top, dear reader, I am sorry, this is garbage, this is basura, whatever, that's fine. I mean, I think most people have really conflicted feelings about their rough drafts, and that's okay. We're all here to lift each other up. Everybody can get an A if they're doing A work. So just lay it out and say, this is how I want it to be better. This is what I'm not satisfied with. And again, you can talk to me too. You know when my Zoom hours are. I'm also on campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can come visit me there too. We can arrange a way for it to happen. Anyway, that's it for this week. If you've got any questions, large or small, please let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.